Hello everyone and welcome. I just want to say that it feels so great to be back on the big desk. It has been quite a long time since I've done anything here and I want to be doing more stuff here. So we'll get into that. We are going to be wrapping up last year and talking about what's going on moving forward for this year. And I know that this video seems like it's coming out late, but you just have to realize that we had a movie, Avatar, Fire and Ash, come out right at the end of December. We always give properties a month to get their numbers straight before we talk about them. So that leads us to the end of January. It is now February 19th. We're a little bit behind compared to normal, but it is also the beginning of the year, so we've got a lot more information that we packed into this one. So I appreciate everyone's patience. But anyway, let's get a move on with this video. I'm Mike. This is Mike's After Action Reviews, and this is the fourth quarter action update for 2025 / beginning of the year update for 2026. All right, everybody, let's get into it. So starting off with, in case you missed it, I no longer talk about all the reviews that I did over the last quarter, but we have been doing very well with the trailer reactions, so go check those out. Go check out the reviews. You can see them all in the game and movie reviews. They have their own playlists. Go check all of that out. But one thing is that we did have a cash giveaway. So how it works is basically 10% of everything we make with a minimum of $200, we do a cash giveaway. So if we make $200, you get a $20 cash giveaway. If we make $1 million, you get a $100,000 cash giveaway. Basically, if we don't, if within the quarter we don't make an amount of money to do a giveaway, then we just roll that over to the next quarter. So if one quarter we make $100, well, that's not enough to do a giveaway. So we roll it over to the next quarter, then we make $100 more, and that's enough to do a giveaway. So we do the $20 cash giveaway for the $200 of revenue that we earned. So yeah, we did a cash giveaway. Check it out. Here we go. All right, totally random. All right, so Damien, in accordance with the rules that I've stated, I'm going to give you a whisper, and you have to. So congratulations to Damien _ and I've got to get this right, 200015. I hope that you spent the money well. If you did and you're watching this video, give it a like, share, comment, subscribe. Well, everyone should give it a like, share, comment, subscribe. But Damien, if you're watching this, leave a comment talking about all the great things that you bought with your cash giveaway winnings. Okay, so let's go over it. So, you know, in case you missed it here, section of the video, we have last quarter's releases. So we're starting in October because it's going to be covering the last quarter of 2025. So that's October, November, December. Let's check it out. Starting with October, we've got video games for October. So first of all, Ghost of Yote, which I did do a rapid action review of. I know the rapid action reviews are shorter. Some people like that, but the big unique thing that our channel does is the after action reviews. We approach reviews, the longer form reviews, differently than a lot of channels do, so I'm going to be trying to do more of that. But we've got Ghost of Yote. Okay, the release date was October 2nd, 2025. This is the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, where you play as Atsu on a revenge quest, similar to, it's a similar story, but not exactly the same as Ghost of Tsushima. So, released on October 2nd, It was developed by Sucker Punch and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. Its critical reception is as follows. IGN gave it an 8 out of 10. Eurogamer gave it a 3 out of 5. Metacritic, the Metascore was 86 and the user score was 8.1. As far as the game's profitability, from PushSquare.com on November 11th, Ghost of Yotei has crushed any lingering social media narratives, selling 3.3 million units as of the 2nd of November. That's the total number of copies sold through to consumers and spans the full 32 days since the game's release. By comparison, Ghost of Tsushima sold 2.4 million units in 3 days and crossed 5 million units in 4 months. However, it's important to incorporate some context here. Sucker Punch's predecessor was sold during the height of lockdown on a more mature PS4 platform with a much bigger install base. It was also a cheaper game overall. So, go check out my review, guys. I had a lot of problems with the game, especially comparing it to Ghost of Tsushima. Everybody that YouTubers I've watched, people I've talked to who are kind of in the gaming and entertainment space, and myself as well, we all knew that the game was going to sell well because it's a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima. And it's a Sucker Punch game, and it has big production value, and everything needed to make it a success, even if it's not the greatest game ever, just like the Call of Duty games. There's a lot of games that do that. So the big thing that people had a problem with it was some things that had to do with how it was made, some of the creative decisions they did. Go check out my review and go check out other people's reviews to get a better look at that. But hey, great for them. It's great to see the gaming industry succeed. I hope that if they make a sequel or continue the story, that they will avoid a lot of that controversy and move forward making something better than they did here, and hopefully better than Ghost of Tsushima as well. So it was a good success. Great for you guys. Okay, so then the second game in October was Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. It came out for PlayStation 5, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Microsoft Windows, Xbox Series X and S. Its release date was October 21st, 2025. It was developed by the Chinese Room, which it was originally being developed by Hardsuit Labs, but then it got switched to the Chinese Room, and it was published by Paradox Interactive. Its critical reception is as follows. From IGN, it got a 7 out of 10. From GameSpot, got a 7 out of 10. And on Metacritic, the Metascore was 62, and the user score was 4.8. Now, before we get into this, I want to say that the biggest problem that this game is that it was called Bloodlines. And I've heard a lot of people who solely, like their sole issue with it, they talk about mechanics that were nice and all that stuff, but every single thing that they talked about that was bad about this was comparing it to Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. And even the developer has come out and said, yeah, we took over this project. We didn't have as much time as Hardsuit Labs had, and so we didn't get to make it exactly the way we wanted, and we really hate that it was called Bloodlines 2. We would have liked to call it something else, so that way we didn't run into some of these issues. I played the game. I liked it. It wasn't the greatest game or anything, but it was pretty fun. Mechanics were nice. I loved being able to run around and play as a vampire. I actually play the, it's not a tabletop, but the paper and pen, excuse me. I love to play the paper and pen RPG, Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition. You can go watch our live streams of that. We do live streams of that every other Sunday. But, does this live up to that? No. Does it live up to the first game? No, especially for the time. But they really didn't get to do that. One thing that I appreciate, though, is that apparently there was rumors that the the Hardsuit Labs, there was a problem with Paradox Interactive because Paradox told them to not put any of the modern-day political politics into cultural and political things into the game, and the Hardsuit Labs, basically there was a fight over that, and so Paradox said, well, then we're going to get somebody else, and then the Chinese Room came in, and Hardsuit Labs had years and years and years of development, and the Chinese Room did not have that much time as Hardsuit Labs did. So there's issues with the game, but actually I did like the game, and I would recommend you go play it. It sucks because I had a lot of things going on and I was not able to, I did not do a review of this one, even though I played through it on stream, and actually I regret that. But I liked the game, so go check it out. Check out reviews of it, try to see what it's actually like, make your decision, but I liked the game. I thought it had issues, but I liked it. I think that people let perfection get in the way of what is right or what is the best. People, isn't that what the phrase is? Don't let perfection get in the way of the best option or something like that. I think that happens a lot in video games, though. But as far as the game's profitability, so from IGN.com on November 27th, 2025, after 30 days on sale, Paradox has issued a note to financial markets signaling a write-down valued at 355 million SEC, approximately 37 million of capitalized development costs for Bloodlines 2. This write-down, Paradox said, was based on an updated sales forecast. Now it has had a month to look at Bloodlines' commercial performance. The tricky question about it was Bloodlines 1, Pinchbeck said. Are you making a sequel to Bloodlines 1? We used to sit there and have these planning sessions of how do we get them to not call it Bloodlines 2. That feels like the most important thing we do here, to come at this and say this isn't Bloodlines 2. We can't make Bloodlines 2. There's not enough time. There's not enough money. And that's what I'm saying. So by the time that the Chinese Room came into this, they'd already spent too much money on the game. They've already written too much of it. And it was coming too close to the time that Paradox Interactive wanted it to be released. And they just did not have time to weave the intricacies that you would have seen in Bloodlines 1, and then what people wanted in a sequel to Bloodlines 1 into this game. And it's actually unfortunate. But again, I think it was a good product. It just, you can't let perfection get in the way of what the best thing you can get is. Let's move on to movies for October, though. So Tron Ares. It was released on October 10th, 2025. It was produced, as far as its production company, it was produced by Walt Disney Pictures and directed by Joachim Roning, which is Joachim Ronning. Its critical reception was as follows. IMDb gave it a 6.2 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, the top critics gave it a 40%. All critics gave it a 53%. Verified audiences gave it an 84%, and all audiences gave it an 82%. Its Metascore was 48, and its user score was 6.2. So I would say let's shoot an arrow in the middle between Rotten Tomatoes and the Metascore, and give it a 7 out of 10, like a 70% probably. Just in general, this is not my actual review. I did review the movie, so go check it out. Go check out my review. Was it great? Not amazing. It's trying to push the world forward. It's a great concept to have a user going into the grid, then the user going, the sun going back, he gets stuck in the grid, and then the sun goes back into the grid and finds his father, Flynn. And then the natural progression for that would be, well, let's bring the programs out of the grid into the world. Is the way that they did it the best way to have done that? I don't know. They could have done a couple different things. But the movie is okay. It's better. I would say that it's better than like a sci-fi show, or a direct to sci-fi movie. direct-to-TV. You know, you used to have those movies that came out of the Sci-Fi Channel that actually were like not great, you know, but they had a little bit of a comedy element to them, or they were so bad that they were good just a little bit, and you'd watch them and it'd be like, yeah, okay, whatever, I'm never going to watch that again, but it's fine to turn on while have nothing better to do and I'm stuck at home watching TV and you know, whatever. It's better than that, but it's not like great. So I would say this is probably like, you know, like an average movie. Some of the action sequences and cinematography and stuff was cool, but I mean, it was not the greatest thing. But let's talk about the film's profitability. So from Deadline on October 20th, 2025, that's Deadline.com. Deadline has learned from sources that the third chapter in the 43-year-old video game Matrix protagonist story actually cost $220 million net. Not the reported 170 to 180 million that was floated out there. Okay, so we're looking at 222 million. That means that it has to make double. They always just say double that because of marketing and other general costs. Plus, I'm not exactly sure, and this has not been verified to me, but how much the profit actually works as far as because opening weekend movies that are released make much, like the production companies make much more of the cut, and then after opening weekend, theaters make a significant percentage of what ticket sales are. So let's take a look though. From BoxOfficeMojo.com, domestically the movie made $73 million. Internationally, it made $69 million. So worldwide, it made $142 million. That is not great. That means that it probably lost $280 million. Not great. Jared Leto has not been... He's not been hitting very many success stories, we'll put it that way. He's got a lot of misses recently. So we'll see what happens with He-Man because he's going to be in that one. So yeah, I mean, I think the biggest problem was that where is the son of Flynn? Where is Flynn himself? You know, with no spoilers, just telling you like, where are these people? What's going on? Why isn't the story about them? That kind of sucks. I mean, yeah. I mean, whatever.
Shit.
Yeah. So I was never like a huge Tron guy, but I did like the movies and some of the other properties that have come out as far as like the TV show. There's been video games. It's kind of sad to see a well-beloved franchise kind of maybe, you know, I don't know if this is exactly it dying off, but just not doing as well as people would have liked. So there's that one. Okay, so the next movie for October, Roofman. It was released October 10th, 2025. This is actually an interesting story because it took place not far from where I actually live. But it was about a veteran, and I was in the Army. It was about a veteran who broke into places from the roof to avoid security cameras and stuff, and then he ended up living inside of a store, and nobody knew he was there for like 6 months. It was a long time. So, yeah, released on October 10th, 2025. Production company was Paramount Pictures, and it was directed by Derek Cianfrance. Well, Derek, okay, and then last name Cianfrance. I don't know how to pronounce it, but that's okay because my last name is really weird too. So I feel you, brother. Okay, but anyway, its critical reception was as follows. So IMDb gave it a 7 out of 10. The top critics on Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 76%. All critics gave it an 87%. Verified audiences gave it an 85%, and all audiences gave it an 81%. The Metacritic Metascore was 66 and the user score was 7.1. Metacritic tends to be the more critical one. That's where the critic comes from. No, so like IMDb will give it a 9 and give a property like a 9 out of 10. The audiences will give it a 9 out of 10. Metacritic will give it a 7 out of 10. So, but I would say that with Rotten Tomatoes, there's a good pattern here. If, and this is what I was saying about Tron Ares, because Tron Ares had poor critic reviews, but then audiences liked it. So, but it also, there was less people that went and saw it, so they were probably a smaller pool of people that were predisposed to liking that movie. Anyway, so for Roofman here, there is a pattern. If critics hate it and audiences like it, it's probably good. If critics like it and audiences hate it, it's probably bad. Well, if critics and audiences both like it, it's probably good. So Roofman is probably a good movie. I didn't see it, but that makes me go, hey, this sounds like a great movie. Let me know what you guys think if you saw the movie in the comment section down below. Did you like Roofman? But let's get into the movie's profitability. So from Variety.com on October 11th, 2025, Miramax developed, produced, and financed the R-rated Roofman on a slim $19 million budget, and Paramount put some promotional force behind it with a premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival in September. Okay, so think 19 million. Again, that means that you would have to make 38 million to break even. I will say this. The way that they're putting this is there might not have been so much of a marketing budget, so you might not actually need the 38 million to break even. But we'll get into it. And just to be clear, marketing is like the thing that sucks. It costs so much for what you get, quote unquote. So if you were to make a $19 million movie, not market it at all, you only have to make $20 million to make $1 million, to profit $1 million, because just forget about it. That's what horror movies do. So from boxofficemojo.com, domestically it made $22 million, internationally it made $11 million, and worldwide it made $34 million. So most likely, just based on these numbers, it lost $4 million. But again, with the way that the marketing thing went, smaller marketing budget means that it might have crossed into profitability here. I'm not sure, but I do know that audiences seem to really have liked it. So maybe go check it out, wait for it on streaming. They'll also probably sell, well, no, they won't, because it's Paramount, so it'll be on Paramount Plus. Or the different streaming services that they're on. Amazon will probably pay to be able to play it. So they can still make a little bit of money from there, but so that kind of sucks because audiences liked it. Let me know again what you think of Roofman in the comment section down below. But let's move on to November. So the first video game in November is Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment. Its release date was November 6th, 2025. It was developed by Koei Tecmo and published by Nintendo. By the way, I haven't played these games, but you don't play as Link. You play as different characters, and this is the next one in that series. There is a series of games. It is an IP that is well known, and people have liked it, so that's cool. There's multiple games in the game series. So let's check out the critical reception though. So GameSpot gave it a 6 out of 10. Nintendo Life gave it a 9 out of 10. Metascore on Metacritic was 79. The user score was 8.6. So that tells me that GameSpot is probably low. Nintendo Life is probably high. Probably around an 80%. I haven't played the game, but I'm just saying, just looking at the trends here, it's safe to probably say 80%. Let me know if you guys played the game. What did you think? How did you like it? But other than that, let's check out the game's profitability. So from NintendoEverything.com on January 26, 2025. Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment has sold over 1 million copies on Nintendo Switch 2. Koei Tecmo has announced. That news comes as part of the company's latest financial report. Hyrule Warriors: Age of Imprisonment seems to have hit this major milestone fairly quickly. The game launched in November, and Koei Tecmo's financial results are through December 31, 2025. So we don't get box office numbers for games, and a lot of sales numbers we don't really get either, actually. They're mostly from Europe and stuff. And then like with Steam charts, being able to see people who are actually playing. But this sounds great. I mean, a lot, games used to have to sell, like, you big budget games have to sell like 5 million to be like a big, huge success. But depending on your budget, and Nintendo tends to keep the budgets pretty tight, 1 million copies, over 1 million copies is a great number. So I don't know exactly, but that sounds like they're pretty, solid numbers here. So hopefully it's good. Again, let me know what you guys think of the game, and are you happy with its success? What do you think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below. And then we have, oh, by the way, yeah, that game only came out for PC, or sorry, not for PC, for Nintendo Switch 2. So I've got to make sure that I'm telling you guys the platforms here. So let's move on though. So Anno 117 Pax Romana, coming out for the PC, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S. It's released on November 13th, 2025. It was developed by Ubisoft Mainz and was published by Ubisoft. Its critical reception, oh, and by the way, just so you guys know, this is a city builder. I'm not so much familiar with it, but it's a city builder. If you're familiar, maybe you want to go in the comments section. Don't spoil anything, although it's a city builder, so I don't know how the story goes, like any level of story that's played through, but let us know maybe a little bit more of the key details and what sets the game apart from other city builders. But, so it's a city builder. So its critical reception is as follows. Review scores from IGN, giving it a 9 out of 10. PC Gamer gave it an 8, an 80 out of 100. Its meta score on Metacritic was 84, and the user score on Metacritic was 7.1. So, solid numbers. And I like a good city builder game. There's games that you play, and then you can do other things while you're playing. Like, I'll play a city builder or a survival game and have like the news or some video I actually want to listen to playing, and it's just a nice way to maybe turn my brain off a little bit and relax. Then there's games that I play that are actually like I don't turn on something, I really get engaged with the game more, and that is more for me to really like get into something and have fun. Almost like the difference between, folding laundry or maybe having like a party with guests over and there's a movie or something playing in the background, and there's a difference between like that and sitting down and like watching your favorite movie or just watching a movie for movie night in general. So solid numbers. Let's get into the game's profitability. So as far as profitability from gamesmarket.global, after 25 years and 7 installments, the Anno franchise, or is it Anno or Anno? But anyway, has firmly established itself in the strategy games market with Anno 117 Pax Romana. The game is the brand's fastest-selling title to date. From 11 to 18 November 2025, it ranked 3rd worldwide on Steam's bestseller list, behind the free-to-play Counter-Strike 2 and Arc Raiders. In Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, the game reached number 1 by revenue. It ranked 2nd in France, 5th in the UK, and 8th in the US. The peak number of concurrent players on Steam was 50,000, almost double the number reached by its predecessor, 25,302 for the last Anno game, which was released in April 2019. So that's really great. It's a franchise with a lot of games in it, like a lot of, and a lot of entries in it, and it's, so that usually doesn't happen unless it's well-loved and makes money, okay? And it's great to see that a well-loved game made enough money that we're probably going to get another one, and gamers who love the franchise are going to get what they want. They get to keep playing within their favorite, some of their favorite franchises. So, okay, that's great for them. Let's move on to the movies for November. So we've got Predator Badlands, released on November 7th, 2025. Now, I will tell you, I did do a review of this one, so go check it out. It's a rapid action review. Its production was 20th Century Studios, and it was directed by Dan Trachtenberg. Its critical reception was as follows. IMDb gave it a 7.3 out of 10. The top critics in Rotten Tomatoes gave it an 83%. All critics on Rotten Tomatoes gave it an 86%. And then the verified audiences on Rotten Tomatoes were 95%, and all audiences was 92%. On Metacritic, the Metascore was 71, and the user score was 6.3. Now, go see my review, but I just disagree with the Rotten Tomatoes scores. But maybe that's just me. You know, I didn't feel like this movie was a real, true Predator movie like we've been wanting to see. You know, the Predator used to be this really scary thing that was this hunter, and the whole thing was about taking so the first movie was about taking this elite group of men who go around and they can just kill anybody because they're so awesome as far as their combat capabilities, and having them turn into just scared little girls as this thing picks them off one by one. And I also liked that in the movie Predators, where they basically did that same thing again, but now they're on a game preserve planet, so that's cool. But let me know what you guys think about it. Please don't spoil the movie. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section down below, and please go check out my rapid action review. So yeah, but audiences loved it. The Metascore. I'm more towards Metacritic on this one. Like a 6.3 or a 7, probably a 7. I wouldn't even say a 7. I'd probably say a 6 or 5 or a 6. Like I thought the movie was like, it's okay. But go check out my review. Now, as far as the movie's profitability, so from superherohype.com on November 10th, 2025, the movie was reportedly made with a budget of $105 million, while its opening weekend numbers already seem closer to its budget. It won't be profitable just by surpassing that number. Generally, a new film needs to gross about 2 to 2.5 times its production budget, so Predator: Badlands needs to make anywhere between $210 million and $262 million to break even and surpass it to become profitable. The number not only consists of the filming production budget, but also the money spent on promotion and merchandising. Okay, so we're going to go over these numbers, and I want you to realize that this is an interesting thing that I've seen when it comes to certain movies. And I've only really seen it in movies because movies, we have the capability of seeing both the reviews and the budgets specifically lined up for us. So here's what we got. So from boxofficemojo.com, domestically it made $91 million. Internationally it made $93 million. And worldwide it made $184 million. Now, it needed $210 to $262 million to break even. It lost between 30 and $80 million. Okay, so that sucks. The Predator franchise, I think, has been kind of in its death throes. A lot of people are probably going to come and say, no, it's been dead, but it's been at least in its death throes, maybe even dead for a long time now, because it's just, I don't understand what they're doing with it. It sucks. But then when you think of that, and then you go back to the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, when you have a movie make not so much money, that means not a lot of people went and saw it. And basically that means that the group of people who did go see it were more predisposed to liking it, which is the reason why they went and saw it. So then when they go and write reviews of it, you tend to see higher numbers. And I think that's probably where that comes from. And I've seen that in other movies too, where it'll do well with critics, like IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, and then you look at the numbers of people that went and saw it. It's like if only 5 people went and saw a movie and 4 of them liked it, I mean, that's not a big enough sample size to say that the movie, 90% of the people loved the movie. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Let me know what you think about Predator: Badlands in the comments down below, and please go check out my review of the movie. So the next movie that we're going to be talking about for November 2025 was The Running Man, which was released on November 14th, 2025. So this is a sequel to the old Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, The Running Man, in the Arnold Schwarzenegger version. So I'll be honest with you, actually. I don't know if it's a reboot or a sequel. I didn't see this one. But it's the next one in the franchise. But in the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, which I think was made, in the 80s? Whatever. If you saw that movie, let me know in the comment section down below and tell me what you thought of it. I liked it. I was younger when I first saw it. But basically, Arnold Schwarzenegger is a criminal, and criminals get sentenced. It's almost like Death Race, where criminals get sentenced to be involved in a competition that is like a fight to the death. They get put into this big arena. It's like a big open area. Think like Arkham City, where it's like this big walled-in area, and then they have gladiators go in and hunt those people down as the people try to survive and make it to the exit. That's the whole thing. And so it's Arnold Schwarzenegger fighting these people who have like themed weapons and, almost like a video game. He's like fighting his way through a bunch of video game bosses. Electro can shoot lightning. What was the guy's name? Pyro or something? He had a jetpack and could shoot fire. Anyway, I really liked that one. I thought it was cool. So let's talk about this one, though. So this was released, I think I already said, November 14, 2025. The production company was Genre Films, and it was directed by Edgar Wright. And the critical reception was as follows. So IMDb gave it a 6.4 out of 10, excuse me. On Rotten Tomatoes, top critics gave it a 51. All critics gave it a 62. Audiences, the verified audience, gave it a 78%, and all audiences gave it a 71%. And then on Metacritic, the Metascore was 56, and the user score was 5.7. Now, on Rotten Tomatoes, we've got critics giving it basically, let's say, a 60. And audiences are giving it a 74. Yeah, let's say 74. Or 75. Metacritic is always a little bit more critical, but let's kind of, again, we're going to shoot an arrow in the middle here and say that the movie was a 70. That means that the movie was had certain elements that were okay. In my opinion, that would probably indicate anyway, that the movie had certain elements that were okay, and maybe the action was okay, but the story wasn't great, or vice versa, or something. It had problems. And I've heard from certain people and seen certain reviews that basically said the same idea. It was a good idea. It was high production value, so action scenes and stuff were cool, but the problems with it made it a little bit more bland. So a 70%, at least on my scale of what I think of as a 70%, is above average. But that can still be disappointing, especially when you compare it to the original, which I really actually did like. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I didn't watch the movie, but let me know what you guys think. Don't spoil it. Tell me what you thought about 2026's The Running Man. Okay, but as far as the film's profitability, let's check it out. So from MovieWeb.com on November 18th, 2025, The Running Man has opened in theaters, and what felt like a sure hit stumbled out of the gate. The movie opened below expectations, grossing $16.5 million in its opening weekend and $28 million globally. It was beaten by Now You See Me, Now You Don't for the #1 spot at the box office. With a budget of $110 million and word of mouth lukewarm at best, it is looking like a high-profile flop of 2025 that will soon be crushed by the likes of Wicked for Good and Zootopia 2. So let's talk about this, guys. $110 million. They need to make $220 million to be able to break even here. And its total numbers after everything on boxofficemojo.com was domestically $37 million, internationally $30 million, and worldwide $68 million. So we're talking, this is not just not doing well. This is bad. Not only did it not break even, it made less money than what it cost to produce without the marketing budget, and they marketed this movie. That's why I said, when it was talking about, like they said here, word of mouth is lukewarm at best. And that's what I mean when I'm talking about the review scores. A 7 seems nice, but seems like it's okay. 7 out of 10 seems nicer, or 70%, but at the same time, there's this bias that people have where it's an average now is a 7 out of 10 or a 70%. And even though what should be average is a 5 out of 10 or 50%. So it's kind of tough. It's tough to figure it out. But the movie flopped. So again, that means that it has a smaller pool of people watching it. So when the audience score is 78, you probably can take a few, maybe more than a few points off because of the predisposition to enjoy the film, being that you went and saw it and nobody else did. But all right, so that one flopped, and that sucks to see. Okay, so and you know what? Actually, it's funny because all right, everybody, sorry for the cut here. So we had a technical issue, and now any things that you see as far as maybe lighting being different or I'm looking a little different, you know, maybe adjustments to the camera stuff is because we had a technical issue. And so I am actually recording this on another day because we had to fix that technical issue. The video actually paused while the audio kept going, and it just really messed us up. So getting back to what I was talking about though. So The Running Man did not just lose, like it didn't lose money in the typical sense. It didn't not make money. It made less money than what it cost to make at all before marketing. So that means this movie probably lost almost $160 million. So that's huge. One thing, and I said it before, and I'm just going to say it again here quickly, is that the reviews here from the audience on Rotten Tomatoes, so, you know, around, you know, between 78 and 71%. It's interesting because everybody else rated it lower. And as far as the audience score, I said this before, but I get suspicious when there are less people that buy movie tickets and then the movie has higher scores. So it basically a movie that doesn't make any money, but then everybody who did saw it went and liked it tells me, well, that might be that they had a predisposition for liking it, and that's why only those people went and saw it. And when they saw it, it was what they wanted, and that's, again, why they went and saw it. So they liked it and give it higher review scores. It's a yellow flag. It's not a red flag. The high review scores or higher review scores and a lower, you know, and a lower box office, or basically making no money, does not always mean that, but it's just kind of a yellow flag that goes up for me, and I say, wait, well, you know, is it because of that, of what I just said? So, kind of what happened with, I was going to say Captain Marvel, but actually Captain Marvel made money, but there was some marketing stuff that went into why that movie made money. Maybe Black Panther Wakanda, Wakanda Forever, higher review scores, didn't make as much money. I can't, off the top of my head, can't remember exactly how much money it made if it lost money, but I'm just saying it didn't make as much money as the first, didn't make as much money as it probably should have, but it had high review scores. A lot of the people that went and saw it, though, were kind of predisposed to liking whatever was going to be in that movie anyway. So that's the one I have off the top of my head, and for some ungodly reason, I'm not able to think of anything else. It's because I have early onset dementia. That's what I tell everybody. But yeah, if you can think of another one, though, off the top of your head, or you know what? The Northman. That's one that didn't make so much money, and for me, it was advertised as an action movie. I went in and saw it. It's very slow burn, has very little to do with action, and so I'm sitting there waiting, and it was one of those kind of pretentious movies. Another one that came out around the same time was The Green Knight, actually, and they got high review scores. The people that went and saw it, though, seemed like they would, you know, it seems like they would be predisposed to liking movies like that, even though I really didn't have a fun time at all. But anyway, let me know what your thoughts on that are in the comment section down below, guys. So, but let's move on to the next one here. So we've got December. We've got Metroid Prime 4 came out. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. It came out for the Nintendo Switch, Nintendo Switch, and the Nintendo Switch 2. It was released on December 4th, 2025. So this is the next one in the Metroid franchise here. It was developed by Nintendo, and Retro Studios, and published by Nintendo. Its critical reception is as follows. It got an 8 out of 10 from IGN, a 3 out of 5 from Eurogamer, and the Metacritic Metascore was 78, with the user score being 8.0. As far as its profitability, we've got this from thegamer.com on December 19th, 2025. The Metroid series has never been one of Nintendo's big sellers. It currently sits 17th among the company's major franchises, behind Wario, Duck Hunt, and Game & Watch. I've never heard of Game & Watch. Huh, interesting. It's no wonder Nintendo's social media efforts... By the way, I'm not a Nintendo guy, so yeah. But anyway, it's no wonder Nintendo's social media efforts were quieter in the lead-up to Metroid Prime 4. While marketing certainly ramped up, with adverts popping up all over the globe, it seems like Nintendo was chasing a lost cause. In its second week in Japan, Metroid Prime 4 sold only 3,000 physical units, far fewer than the previous Metroid title and fewer than many, many other Switch titles. Metroid Prime 4 sold just 3,381 physical units in Japan in its second week, bringing its 2-week total physical sales to 32,382 sales. So that is not good. Tell you, I saw it and I thought it looked kind of boring. I didn't play this one because, again, I'm not a Nintendo guy, but that sucks. The Metroid series is, again, I mean, it's saying here, you know, it's not one of Nintendo's biggest sellers, but it is a storied and it's a storied game franchise, and it, you know, it's kind of like a legend. It's in the legendarium of gaming, you know, Samus from Metroid, you know, and so it kind of sucks to see something like that fail. Hopefully they can recover from this, get up doing another one that is, you know, like the next entry can be, you know, better and be a lot more fun for the fans. So, okay, then we have Routine. And this is a first-person sci-fi horror set on an abandoned lunar base designed around an 80s vision of the future. Explore and investigate your surroundings as you survive against unknown threats. So this released on Steam. It was released on December 4th, 2025. It was developed by Lunar Software and published by Raw Fury. Its critical reception is as follows. So IGN gave it a 7 out of 10. Game Informer gave it an 8.5 out of 10. The Metacritic Metascore was 79, and the user score was 7.6. As far as its profitability, from SteamCharts.com on January 26, 2025, we had, so the price was $24.99, and its all-time peak was 1,571 players. So I don't have any other data. This was a small title. I don't have any other data on whether it did well, but December was kind of a light month. But if you think about the idea of $25, the all-time peak, everybody not playing together. Let's say that we just did, I don't know if this is a good rule of thumb. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. But just think of it as a rule of thumb. Let's double that number. So we got 3,000 players on Steam, and times $25. And you're basically talking about not a whole lot of money. So, you know, it's a small title, so it might have been okay, but I'm just not sure. But that's basically the information we got. So this was small enough that it didn't hit any of the big news, any of the radar of the big news outlets. So I'm not exactly sure. But like I said, Steam charts, all-time peak 1,571. But it does have great reviews. So for $25, you're not taking a big risk. Go check it out, right? Yeah, I don't know, I didn't play it, but indie games and these smaller titles are the future. Short gaming experiences, 15 hours or less, even if it was just 5 hours, but I paid $10-15 for it. Yeah, great. You know, I can, for $10 or $15, I can buy 7 games for the price of 1 game. And if each of those games gave me between 5 and 10 hours, I am now, and I played each of them through all the way to a month, meanwhile playing one open world RPG for $70 a month. You're talking about 50 to 70 hours of gameplay that is curated to be, you know, tight and efficient, okay, in the buying the $10 games versus overly bloated games that cost $70 and are monetized to heck and have all this other stupid stuff and the quality isn't as good. So like I'm way into supporting smaller titles and stuff. So go check it out. Routine sci-fi horror, highly reviewed, cheaper game. You're not risking anything by spending $25 to play the game. So, or you're not risking much anyway, except for your $25. But that's not as much as, it's almost a third of what it costs to buy other games nowadays. So, okay, but moving on, let's get into movies. So Avatar, Fire and Ash, and this is the big one that made me wait so long before even starting to get on the action update notes. But Avatar, Fire and Ash, it was released on December 19, 2025. It is the third installment in James Cameron's Avatar movie series with the big blue people fighting for Pandora. So it was produced by 20th Century Studios and directed by James Cameron. Its critical reception is as follows. IMDb gave it a 7.4 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, top critics gave it a 53%. All critics gave it a 66%. Verified audience gave it a 90%, and all audience gave it an 87%. Meanwhile, on Metacritic, the Metascore was 61, and the user score was 7.0. Now, I already know that it made a huge amount of money. It's been a minute since I had my notes, but I do know that it made great amount of money. But I will say I didn't like the second one. The second one to me was just a retread of the first one, and then the final battle was really dumb because you had these two armies come and clash together, and then about a quarter of the way, not even a quarter, maybe 10% of the way into the final battle, if you look in the background, you'll notice that there's no armies anymore fighting. Like the all of the Na'vi that rode in to the final battle in the end of the second one, Avatar: Way of the Water, they're not there anymore after about 5 minutes or less. So I was like, what the heck is this? Yeah. So anyway, also whale juice that gives you immortality, only selling for like $1 million or something. They said some number, but it was way too low. I can't remember exactly where it was. So I didn't go see this one, and that's why, because I was like, the burnout on the second one, and then I don't know. So, and it was the holidays. So anyway, but I know that we're going to look into it. Audiences gave it a high score. Critics gave it a low score, which makes me think that it was probably way closer to the audiences. So on Rotten Tomatoes, so we got a 7.4 from IMDb. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a verified audience 90%, and then the user score on Metacritic was 70. So you're probably looking at around an 80% of, 8 out of 10. If you kind of conglomerate those scores and then just forget about the critics because they suck. So, yeah. But as far as its profitability, let's check it out. So from slashfilm.com on December 9th, 2025, according to a report from Variety breaking down the Oscar prospects for Avatar, Fire and Ash, the film carries a whopping production budget of $400 million or more. That means Cameron's sequel needs to make a fortune just to break even, to say nothing of turning a profit, as was also the case with this year's other $400 million tentpole Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Now, $400 million, $800 million is what you need because you want to double that because of marketing and all of that. And then what you end up with is this. So from boxofficemojo.com, domestically it made $378 million. Internationally it made $1 billion. So worldwide it made $1.378 billion. And again, great. The second movie also did really well, even though I personally didn't like it. If you like it, great. Nothing against you. I'm really glad that you liked it. I want everybody to love every movie. I want everybody to love every video game. But I just didn't like the second one myself. Maybe I'll see this one and go, oh man, I should have gone and saw it because it actually was good. But I didn't see it. I am glad, however, that people liked it and it made money because people liked it. I want things that people like to be successful. So great for them. Great for James Cameron. I don't know how many, did he say he's got plans for 5 of them? So we've got a movie making over $1 billion. The $1 billion, though, translates to, you see $1 billion, like $1.3 billion. With the production budget and marketing, you have to realize that $1.3 billion equates to $500 million or less for profit. Now that's a huge amount of money, but for 1.3 billion, I just want to put it into perspective for you. They did not make $1 billion off this movie. They made probably less than $500 million or 500 million, which is still a huge amount of money. If the production budget is going to go up, you're going to have a $400 million movie, a movie having been made for $400 million, and it makes $500 million, and that basically means if the production budget goes up, they're going to need to make it for around the same amount of money that they made this third one. So whatever, I'm just saying, just looking at that interestingly there. So great job for James Cameron making the movie. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. So Anaconda movie, Jack Black and Paul Rudd. So this was released on December 25th, 2025. Basically what this is two guys who really love the Anaconda movie series, and so they decided, let's go out in the jungle and make another one. Like ourselves. We'll do it ourselves. Let's do this. It'll be fun. We'll go out there and make our own little fan film or whatever. And then guess what happens when they get out there? They get attacked by a giant anaconda. Now, I didn't see this one. When I say giant anaconda, I don't know if it's actually a fantasy-sized anaconda like in the actual anaconda movies, or if it's just a really big anaconda. But either way, no spoiling the movie, but you guys can always talk about what I'm talking about in these, but please spoiler free though. Maybe give me a thumbs up, thumbs down on this one, because I really like Jack Black and Paul Rudd. But so that's what that's about. So, but the production company. So we have Sony Pictures, and it was directed by Tom Gormican, and its critical reception is as follows. IMDb gave it a 6 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes top critics gave it a 26%, with all critics giving it a 48%, and verified audiences giving a 76%, with all audiences giving it a 70%. The Metacritic Metascore was 43, and the user score was 5. So, we're looking at a movie that basically everybody said was not great. Rotten Tomatoes says it was above average. Metacritic says it was average, so probably a low above average, probably like a 60%, 6 out of 10. I think IMDb shot the arrow right in the middle, so 6 out of 10 quality, but let me know what you guys think. If you've seen it, let me know if it was good. Maybe I'll watch it and check it out. I don't know. Let me know in the comments, do you think that it would be good for me to go back and see and do reviews of older movies? It might be easier, because they're easier to get a hold of, and then I could maybe... It's just really hard. I'll tell you the truth. I'm here alone. I used to have more people that helped me, and now it's like I used to have like 1 or 2 people that helped me, and then the big people that have helped me have either, moved away, life happens, and now I'm not able to do everything I want to do. But yeah, just let me know. Would you like me to try to do more of stuff like that with older movies? Like, I know that this is not this month's movie, but I could always go back and watch it and do a review of it kind of out of rotation. But yeah, anyway, so not highly reviewed though. So then as far as its profitability from Variety.com on December 23rd, 2025, Anaconda cost $45 million to produce. A meta reboot, Anaconda follows best friends who travel to the jungle to pursue their childhood dream of remaking their all-time favorite movie. You guessed it, 1997's Anaconda. The project starts to unravel when life imitates art and a real anaconda begins hunting them down. So, $45 million, that means it needed to make $90 million to break even. From BoxOfficeMojo.com. Domestically, it made $63 million, internationally $66 million, giving us a worldwide box office of $128 million. So most likely, it made at least a little bit of money. I don't know how they set it up in the movie. I don't know if that means a sequel or what, but I'm telling you, a smaller production budget is the answer for everything. Keeping things lean and tight is the answer for everything. If you want to have a surefire way of success, stop trying to become the biggest, hugest, greatest, whatever thing. Increase your skill, lower your overhead, and offer higher quality because of your increased skill for a lower price. That's how big businesses do it. Look at Amazon and Walmart. Everything is cheaper because of the way they run the business, even though it's not always the greatest quality, and that's why we love them and make them a bunch of money by buying their products. That is not, and when I say it's not always the highest quality. What I'm actually saying is it's not like the elite brand that you're going to go spend more money on. It's not the more expensive option. It's the medium option or the cheap option for Walmart especially. You can get anything on Amazon, but you know what I'm saying. So these production budgets need to be smaller. I mean, making money on something that is centered around two actors out in a jungle, and it only costs $45 million to make. Meanwhile, making so let's put this in perspective. By the way, okay, so $45 million, and for $45 million, they made $30 million. Okay, so $30 million. Now you take that and you multiply that by 10, and you have $450 million. So for $450 million, they would have made $300 million. Avatar, Fire and Ash was basically $500,000 and made $500,000. You see what I'm saying? What did we say? So it cost $400 million and it made 1.3 billion. 800 million minus 1.3 billion, or 1.3 minus 800 million because of marketing and all that. You're talking about making basically $500 million, and this is rare. So if you made 10 movies a year, let's say just 10 movies, your next 10 movies cost $45 million and you made $30 million off of each of them, you would be at Avatar, Fire and Ash levels of success. You see what I mean? Tighter, higher quality, lower overhead. Anyway, okay, so that is in case you missed it. So the last quarter has been goofy for me. I didn't get to do as much as I want to. It's the same story every time. I imagine that there's going to be somebody in the comments who's going to go back and watch my updates and say, you say the same thing every time, you're always too busy, you're always whatever. I can stop saying it if you guys want, but I'm just letting you know what's going on with the channel. That's the point of the action updates. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I had friends who were helping me. One guy, he got out of the army and moved from his location where he lived, and now he's living somewhere else, and it's harder for us to collaborate because of his situation. But we keep trucking on. The trailers with Mike is the biggest thing. I really, really, really would love to be more into the reviews. Like I would like the reviews to be the main focus. I started moving more towards the trailers with Mike because of how popular they are, but I really wish that I could get if I could just get one review that just really gets, one video game review that just really gets a bunch of views, and then people like it, and then people start watching my reviews more. Then I could focus less on trailers with Mike and focus more on the after action reviews. So please go check out the video game reviews. They are sort of the crux of what Mike's after action reviews is. Even if the trailers with Mike is what's making us the, quote unquote money, we don't make any money. Hey. All right. So great. Those were last quarter's releases. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Did you like any of those things? Did you see them? What did you think? Any interesting things about what you thought might have been successful and wasn't as successful as you wanted it to be, or something that you thought was not going to be successful and it was more successful than you thought it would be? Let me know. Comment section down below, guys. All right, moving on. Let's get to what I am currently working on. So currently I am very behind. I've been in the hospital. I've been sick. I've had this and that and the other thing going on. But I am playing the game Cairn, which is coming from a smaller studio. And it is really fun. It's about climbing a mountain. And it's a lot like a game that I reviewed before called A Short Hike in a general sense. Because A Short Hike was also about climbing a mountain. And you had a stamina bar that you would incrementally increase through collecting feathers, because you're like a anthropomorphized bird, whatever. You're a bird person, and all the people in the game are animal people. And so this game, Cairn, is completely it's a type of puzzle game where you control each limb. So you press a button and you get in it. You can select which limb you're going to move. Okay, grab wherever you see to grab, and then you do the next thing with the next limb, and then you're fighting against stamina. Meanwhile, also having repelling rope, but it's not repelling rope. It's the rope, and then you can put in your pittance into the wall to hold yourself up. And you also have a little robot that helps you. But it's all very grounded, and it actually is a really fun game. It's a little bit time consuming, as far as, like, I don't know. There are going to be people who want to play this game multiple times because there are different things you can do and different paths you can take. But sitting down and playing it, you're going to be doing one thing for basically the whole time, and that is climbing this mountain. And the mechanics of climbing a mountain are fun. For me, it's hard to imagine playing again just because I'm a critic and I have to keep up with different games, even though I am always behind, which makes it even more where I've got to keep going. But yeah, so that's my thing. But it also was a cheaper game. So go check it out on Steam. I don't know what the price is right now, but go check it out on Steam. It was less expensive. It wasn't some $70 game, and it is actually a fun time. So I'm playing that right now, and then the review is going to come out. I'm going to do an after action review. I've got to stop. I think that the objective here is to keep with Trailers with Mike, stop doing the rapid action reviews as much, except for very short games, and then just... Even if I don't get to play, even if I miss out on playing certain games, let's do the after-action reviews. 20 to 30-minute videos where I really break down the games, because that's the whole point of Mike's after-action reviews. And right now, the shorts and the Trailers with Mike are the biggest popular thing. So, I want to do what I love. Let's do it. I want these reviews to be successful, so I'm going to keep making them until I get better and better, until people have no choice but to watch my reviews of them. Let me know what you guys think of that in the comment section down below. And let me know, do you like the after-action reviews? I really appreciate it if you'd say yes, but if you don't like them or you have some critiques for me, please let me know, because then I can work hard, change some things, and eventually earn that yes from you in the comments, saying that you like them, obviously. Okay, so Cairn. Okay, other than that, though, we're doing a really exciting thing. I've been playing Vampire the Masquerade 5th Edition. I played Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, which we went over as far as last quarter's releases. And I played the first Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines game. I played Vampire the Masquerade Redemption. I've messed around a little bit with Dungeons & Dragons. And so I know paper and pen RPGs. And so I said, hey, I've got the bug. I got bit by the bug, okay? Bit by the vampire bat, actually. Forget bugs. Anyway, and so I've got all of the books. I've got the Player's Guide. I've got the core book for Vampire the Masquerade 5th Edition. And so we are doing an interesting thing if you haven't already... If you've a friend of the channel already and been watching, but you didn't know this. So we are playing Vampire the Masquerade 5th Edition. I've got Lore Master Brian, Salty Skipper, and myself. We're playing a Banu Hakim. I'm the Banu Hakim assassin. Lore Master Brian is the Bruja Brawler, and then Salty Skipper is our tanky/support Gangrel. And we're having a fun time, and we do it every Sunday at 2 o'clock, roughly. And we have been having some problems. Salty Skipper's been either sick, and we had a snowstorm and a bunch of different stuff. But we're having a great time doing that. So please go check those out. The biggest, coolest thing about it is that I actually went in. I took an AI, and I created a custom GPT in ChatGPT where I uploaded, I took information, I summarized a bunch of information, I wrote all of this different text, all these different rules to make the AI know how to play Vampire the Masquerade as far as running a game. So I am the storyteller, and the game, the custom character, the AI here, is the storyteller really, who actually knows everything. I know nothing about the lore, but I make sure that it's following all the rules and everything. Meanwhile, because I'm not the one actually running the game, I get to play along as a character. So it's pretty cool. To be honest with you, it's fun to do. It's interesting to work with the AI to make it work. But actually, we would like to get a real DM. A game master, a GM, and a storyteller. So if you are in the audience and you would like to do something like that, or if you are, someone, who would like to do something like that, we would love to do that. I've tried reaching out to a couple of people who actually would take money to do it, and I've been actually having a hard time finding someone. But if you know somebody, we can even talk about some pay per session, and I think it would be a great time. So currently, one thing that I will say that's cool is I don't want to be the storyteller, but with the rules and everything that I've created, and I can't get into all of the complexities of it, but with the rules that I've created in the custom GPT and the training that I gave the AI, I am able to do really, really good story outlines, like basically writing new stories for the storyteller to tell. It's pretty cool. It's basically, so by the way, just so you guys understand, a story in Vampire the Masquerade is like a campaign in Dungeons and Dragons. So yeah, go check that out. I'm really happy with how that's going, and I really love the game. So anyway, I've talked too much about that. Vampire the Masquerade Seekers, we're glad to be here to provide you a place. Come and watch our streams. But all right, let's move forward. So first, I want to get some other things out of the way. So first of all, the MAARs Summit is usually done in December. But the last MAARs Summit we did, we did not... So we decided that we would go over the Game Awards entries and Game of the Year and all that stuff. And also talk about the Oscar results. And I'm an idiot and didn't realize that the Oscars hadn't happened yet at the time, because I kept thinking, oh, the Oscars... I don't know. I intentionally avoid watching all these shows, so I don't like all of the, reviews. I avoid reviews. I avoid watching award shows and stuff, even the Game Awards, because I want to be genuinely surprised. I keep my finger on the pulse by watching like actual news, not trailers, not people going in depth about what the game is. Basically, what I know about games is a short description, and I'll know about a short description and a very quick, general idea of what it is and who's making it. I don't watch anything else because I want to have a genuine surprise when it comes to doing things. That really bit me in the butt when I got Fallout 76, because I did not know what that was really going to be, and then there was no NPCs, and I turned the game off and didn't play it anymore. Anyway, so we made an adjustment. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to do the MAARs Summit for 2025 after the Oscars, so it'll be a little later this year. Once we do that, that's how we're going to roll moving forward, okay? And then, so watch out for that one. More videos. I know. I'm always behind. Trailers with Mike actually does take up quite a bit of my space, because I do the live stream on Fridays at 6. Mondays, I'm releasing shorts from the prior live stream. Then Thursdays, I'm releasing that Friday's live streams as clips. And then I roll right into Friday doing the next live stream. That leaves me Tuesday and Wednesday are the only free days I have other than the weekend, and I also have 2 kids and a wife. So it does leave me a little less time to be able to do the live streams for gameplay and other videos, but I have short videos that I want to make. A new series, Mike's After Action Reviews was started because of how much I hated The Last of Us Part 2. And a lot of my criticisms of that game had to do with basically the core of my beliefs about storytelling, which is culture. Culture, they say, is a conglomeration. Sorry, not culture. A person is in large part, is a conglomeration of the people around them. Basically, you will interact with people and learn things from them, and then those things you will incorporate, or you will chameleon into the people that you, like if you move to a new place, you might actually change your behavior to be more like the people around you. Anyway, my point is, where does the idea, that is what culture is. That group is what we would call a culture group. Where do the ideas come from individually, though? And that's what I want to talk about. Individual culture that can then change the larger group culture. So an individual culture would be me, just me. This is what I believe. These are my norms, okay? And where do those come from? I believe that they come from, again, we're going to reverse engineer this whole thing in large part, and a big thing to me is the media that we consume, the entertainment that we consume, and basically a big part of that, an umbrella term, would be the stories that we tell ourselves. And I want to do videos about movies, video games, scenes from movies, scenes from video games that highlight different personal cultural ideas, aspirations, what is right, what is wrong, be strong, don't give in to temptation, stand for what you believe in. And then even on the flip side, you know, what bad person is the sympathetic bad person? What you know, what is the sad story that can lead people to be and do the wrong things, to be wrong and do the wrong things? Anyway, I want to cut that down into like 10-minute segments and do those as a new series of videos. I'm hoping to be able to do that. We'll see what happens. If I have not started doing that more regularly in the future, it is coming. Even if I want to do it over the next year, but if it happens that I don't do it immediately, and we're in February, it's February 20th right now, it's coming. As the channel will grow, we for sure will be doing that and expanding on those types of videos. I've got to work things out because I have my daughter with me during the day and it's harder to do certain things. Another thing is more live streaming the gameplay. For the games, I need to be getting the games played and reviewed faster. I know that. Again, I'm at home with my daughter during the day, but she likes actually to sit and play with me, and I think that you guys have actually liked watching her sit and play with me, so maybe I'll do that. I love to play games. I love live streaming. It's just this year my daughter's home with me, so it's been harder. She goes to pre-K in a couple of months, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, so that's what I got with that. But now let's get into the big important thing. Every time that we start the new year, the 2026 releases. By the way, upcoming stuff, I didn't get any feedback on this, but upcoming things that are announced but not given a release date or anything are here in the back here, but they are only video games. If you want movies, leave me a comment and I can do that. I can put movies as well, like the biggest movies that I haven't been given a release date yet. I think that those are more famous, I guess. Like the video game industry is bigger than the movie industry by multitudes, but it's more prolific as well. So individual things, I think, anyway, individual movies are more famous individually. Meanwhile, video games as a whole makes more money than movies. If that makes sense. So it's not as hard to know when your movie, you know, when the next Avengers movie, we know roughly when it's going to be coming out, you know, and all of that. But let's check it out. So these are the releases for this year. This is the yearly plan for 2026. 2026 releases, baby. Let's get started. So in January, by the way, we're doing 2 movies, 2 video games, and 2 movies for each month. Because if I do more than that, it takes forever. It's really hard to edit these. It's editing. If I don't know how long this video is going to end up being, but if it's an hour long, that means I edited it for like 2-3 hours. So just, you know, That's like 4 hours of work, guys. Come on now. You get what you pay for. I don't make enough money to do that. No, I'm just messing around. I love you guys. But let's check it out. Anyway, so January. Now I do know that we're already into some of these months. And so the big thing to realize is that we're going to be covering these in the next quarter action update as far as how they did their performance financially and critically. Let's get into it. So January, we had Star Rupture came out. It was in early access on the PC. It's a first-person open-world base-building game that with advanced combat and tons of exploration. By the way, I'm reading a description from either Steam or from the gaming company that made it themselves. So this is what they have to say about it. So play alone or in a group on this sublime and ever-changing planet, extract and manage resources, create your complex industrial system, and fight off hordes of alien monsters. I did see this. This one did look interesting. It was released on January 6, 2025, and it was developed and published by Creepy Jar, so smaller production there. Then we've got Cairn, which released on PlayStation 5 and PC. The description is as follows. Reach a summit never climbed before in the survival climber from the creators of Fury and Haven, climb anywhere and plan your route carefully, managing pittance and resources to survive unforgiving Mount Kami. Discover what Ava is willing to sacrifice to achieve the ascent of a lifetime. It released on January 29th, 2026, and it is developed and published by the Game Bakers. Okay, so then 28 years later, The Bone Temple. It released on January 16th, 2026. It was from Columbia Pictures, and it was directed by Nia DaCosta. Mercy released on the 22nd of January, 2026, and that was from Atlas Entertainment and Timur Bekmbetov. Bekmambetov. The Bone Temple, I heard, didn't do so well, but we'll go over that later. Mercy, I wasn't tracking it, but let me know what you guys think. How did it look? No spoilers, please. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down if you've already seen it. Okay, let's move on to February. So February, the big game that I was going to be playing, and this is the reason why Karen has taken me so long, is what I'm about to say. So I was going to play Styx Blades of Greed, releasing on the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and the PC. It was released on February 19th on PC, and it's releasing in March on PlayStation. So I'm getting it for the PlayStation. So then once I saw that wasn't coming out, I said, okay, let's take a break, try to catch up, and we don't have to worry about getting Karen beaten yet, and getting that review out in a minute. But here's the description. So the Master of Stealth is back. This is the third game in the series. Explore the dizzying heights of the Isarian. I haven't played any of the games, so I don't know all this stuff, but Isarian continent, and cunningly eliminate your enemies. Thanks to your quartz power, you are freer than ever. Be creative. Never has it felt so good to be greedy. It's okay. So again, February 19th. Okay, is its release date, and then but it's releasing in March for the PlayStation 5. Developed by Cyanide Studio and published by Nacon, who have been just knocking it out of the park recently, man. Okay, and then we've got Resident Evil Requiem coming out for the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, the Switch 2, and PC. Requiem for the Dead, Nightmare for the Living. Prepare to escape death in a heart-stopping experience that will chill you to your core. It's releasing February 27th, 2026. It's developed and published by Capcom. Okay, then we've got Dracula, which released on February 6th. This is an interesting spin on the actual Dracula story. Something similar to the Bram Stoker's Dracula, from what I've seen of the short clips of promotional material, which again I've avoided. It released on the 6th. It was produced by Luc Besson Production and directed by Luc Besson. Lucbesson. That's the first and last name. I think that's Luc Besson. Let me know in the comments if I said it wrong. But it's got Christoph Waltz in it. Looks pretty good. So it's kind of cool. I didn't see it, but I haven't been going to the theater as much. I've been sick. Like I said before, I've been sick. I've had a couple of problems. I got to start making sure that I get on that stuff. Okay, but we've got March now. So Life is Strange Reunion coming out for the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. The saga of Max and Chloe and the fate of Caledon is yours to decide. Play as both Max and Chloe as an all-new story builds towards an epic climax. The fire will force Max and Chloe to make devastating decisions. Can they find a future together before everything burns? Releases March 26, 2026. It's developed by Deck 9 Games and being published by Square Enix. I didn't have another game in March. If you guys think that I should be tracking a game in March, let me know. And then for the next action update, I can put that one in, include it, and go over it, like I do with everything else. But I didn't have anything that I was so interested in tracking or watching or playing in March for a second game. The Bride. It's releasing on March 6, 2026. It's a new spin on the Frankenstein's monster story. So it's actually about Frankenstein's monster's bride. So at the bride of Frankenstein's monster. Christian Bale is Frankenstein. And I forget the name of the lady who is playing the bride, but it's a musical, and it's not a musical, but it has, not that I could tell, but it has at least one major musical number, so there's probably going to be more musical stuff in it. It's more female centric. It's being directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, and it's releasing on March 6th, 2026, and it's coming at us from Warner Bros. Pictures. It's going to be more, like I said, more female-centric, so I don't think it's one that I'm going to be so much interested in. But it's got Christian Bale in it, so if you're into Frankenstein's monster, go check it out. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Okay, so then the next one is Project Hail Mary. Its release date is March 20th, 2026. It's coming at us from Amazon Studios, directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. And this one is about space exploration, where an astronaut needs to go and basically restart the sun in the center of our solar system. It's the sun at the center of our solar system. Meanwhile, an alien from another planet is also traveling at the same time, and they actually encounter each other. And this is how humans make first contact with an alien life form, and then they basically team up and try to do their mission kind of together. And I only know all that because of Trailers with Mike. Otherwise, I haven't heard anything about it because again, as I've said before, I avoid news about these things so that way I can basically act as my own audience in finding all these types of things out. So it's starring Ryan Gosling. I like him. He's been doing pretty good so far. Recently anyway. And so go check that one out. Again, let me know about it in the comment section down below. So moving into April, we got Pragmata. Coming at us from PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and X, Switch 2, and PC. By the way, Pragmata is the way they usually say that. Okay, so its description. So Capcom's newest IP, Pragmata, an all-new science fiction action-adventure with its own unique hacking twist. It is the near future, and protagonists Hugh and his android companion Diana, must work together as they make their way through the cold lunar research station. I say Diana because it's an I instead of an E. But that's releasing on April 24th, 2026 and being developed and published by Capcom. It looked a little interesting. For me, Capcom is a hit or miss developer. Let me know what you guys think of that in the comment section down below. But it didn't look like it looked interesting, but it didn't look like something that I wanted to prioritize playing over other things, at least. Okay, so then our second game is Invincible Versus, coming to us from the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and the PC. Invincible Versus is a brutal superhero 3v3 tag fighting game set in the Invincible universe, where you can battle to the death as a team of fan-favorite characters in iconic locations. It's coming at us on April 30th, 2026, and it is being developed by Quarter Up and published by Skybound Games. So if you like the Invincible series, hey, check out the game while you wait for more of the series to continue, or wait for the series to continue. Okay, so then in movies, we got the Super Mario Galaxy movie. It's coming out on April 3rd, 2026, being produced by Illumination and directed by Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelenic. Jelenic? Jelenic. Jelenic. It's the sequel to the Super Mario movie. I really loved the Super Mario movie. I thought that was fun and good family movie. And hopefully this one continues that on. And we're getting another princess in this one. So, again, I know that from trailers and Mike. So if you watch that, let me know how it is. Then we've got something I'm interested in. The Mummy, releasing on April 17th, 2026, coming at us from Blumhouse, and being directed by Lee Cronin. So we had the original Mummy with Bela Lugosi, which was considered a really... If you watched it today, it's not so scary or anything, but at the time when it was released, it was a big deal because that was the cutting edge special effects and stuff. So it was a horror movie, and then we kind of forgot about that for a while. And then when as far as a huge pop culture thing, there's been series, cartoons that have had like the Legend of the Mummy and all that stuff in it, but for the most part, it wasn't as big of a huge pop culture fixture. And then we had Brendan Fraser come out with his action series, The Mummy trilogy. So that became an action. So we went from horror to kind of action movies. Now we're going back to horror with Lee Cronin. And from what I've seen, it actually looks pretty interesting. So check that one out, guys, April 17th. Then we've got, in May, we've got 007 First Light coming at us from PlayStation 5, to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and a Switch 2 and PC. Earn the number. 007 First Light is a thrilling espionage action-adventure game from IO Interactive. Follow James Bond as a young, resourceful, and sometimes reckless recruit in MI6's training program, and discover the origin story of the world's most famous spy. I don't know if I want to know about the world's most famous spy. This is one of those things where it's like, maybe the mystery is actually the better thing. At the same time, I don't want to knock it until I try it kind of thing. Maybe it'll come out and be great. I'm not sure. It's just I'm a little cautious about the idea of revealing too much about a character whose whole persona is mystery. So that one's a little... I hope it's good. Hold on. It's just... it's a yellow flag. There you go. And then, okay, so that's releasing on the 27th of May. 2026. It's being developed and published by IO Interactive. Okay, then we've got Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight coming at us from to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and the Switch 2. Switch 2 and PC. There you go. Rise as the Dark Knight and experience the essential Batman story in a bold, action-packed adventure with hard-hitting combat, an open-world Gotham City, and the signature LEGO charm that the fans know and love. This is coming at us on May 29th, 2026, being developed by TT Games and published by Warner Bros. Games. Then we have The Sheep Detectives, which it's releasing on May 8th, 2026. It's coming at us from Amazon MGM Studios and being directed by Kyle Balda. It has a star-studded cast, and it's starts off with, and I only know this from trailers, but it starts off with Hugh Jackman, who is a sheep farmer, and he loves his sheep so much that he reads to them every day, and he loves detective novels, so he reads to them, mystery detective novels. And unbeknownst to him, animals are conscious, they're like anthropomorphized sheep, and all the animals are like this. It's a lot like Babe. And they are always interested in these in these detective novels. And then one day what happens is he dies. And you find out, this is all in the trailer, they find out that he actually had millions of dollars, like hundreds of millions of dollars that he had saved somehow, and he had all this money. And so they believe that he was murdered, and now the sheep are trying to solve the mystery of who murdered their owner. And it looks like it's going to be fun. It's got a star-studded cast. Like I said, Hugh Jackman is the sheep farmer, and then it's just got a bunch of other people. Look into it. It's, like I said, coming out May 8th. Check that out. So then we have Mortal Kombat 2, and that is releasing May 8th as well, 2026. And it is coming at us from New Line Cinema and being directed by Simon McQuoid. Now, I did not enjoy the first one really at all much. I did like the stuff with Sub-Zero and Scorpion, but the new character they introduced, didn't like that. Some of the characters that they introduced, it's one of those things where it's like, a below average or bad movie is made, and it's bad or below average because it like for a multitude of reasons, but maybe it introduces some stuff that actually isn't bad, and you could see like, man, if they would have done this or changed this a little bit, this could have been an okay movie, and then they make a sequel to that, and it's actually good. So I'm hoping that that's what happens here. It's either going to die on this. Mortal Kombat movies, for at least for a little while, are going to die based on this movie's performance, or they're going to have learned the problems from the first one and be able to make a good movie and maybe continue on with a little bit of a franchise here. But we have Billy Butcher. Carl Urban is going to be Johnny Cage. Yes. In it. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. It's Johnny Cage, yeah? On the top of my head now. I have early onset dementia. I might have mentioned that before, but forgot about it because of said early onset dementia. Okay, so then moving on though. So then we've got June. So in June, I don't have any games that I'm interested in either tracking or playing, but if you guys have suggestions or if new things have come out since this action update, what has been filmed and edited and released, please let me know in the comment section down below. But we do have some movies. So we have Masters of the Universe. It's coming out June 5th, 2026. From Amazon MGM Studios and being directed by Travis Knight. Now, I don't know, I mean, there was some things about the trailers for the movie that made it look like, you know, they were yellow flags. The main character starts off in the real world and then goes to Eternia. He has a placard on his desk that says he, him. Those might have been, well, first of all, the he, him thing might have been a joke about, you know, the woke culture and all that stuff, or it could have been something serious, and I'm not sure. I'm hoping that it was a joke because actually it wouldn't have been bad. The only thing that I would suggest is that it would have been cooler if they would have had, instead of, if it's a joke about this stuff, it would have been funnier if they had he/man instead of he/him, but whatever. Anyway, the Skeletor looks great. They've got Idris Elba. The actual person who's playing He-Man is an unknown to me anyway. I'm sure that I'm going to get people in the comments who are really enthusiastic and really weird and angry about stuff all the time. They're going to go, it's this actor from this thing and he's really great and you suck. But whatever. I don't care about those people. If you're a He-Man fan, check it out. This might be the, see, well, I can see this because it's June 5th and then our next movie comes out June 26th. So we'll see what happens, but I'm a He-Man fan. I watched the cartoon when I was a kid, and, well, one of the cartoons. There's a bunch of cartoons, different cartoons for it, but okay, yeah. So we'll see how that goes. Then we've got Supergirl releasing on June 26, 2026, coming at us from Warner Bros. And being directed by Craig Gillespie. This looks like basically Guardians of the Galaxy, but with DC characters, and that's not a bad thing. I liked the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. What is it? It's not Millie, because I'm thinking of Millie Bobby Brown, but the main actress is Alcock. Alcock? She played in House of the Dragon. If I'm getting her name, I really suck with names, guys. Bear with me. But she played in House of the Dragon, and she's a good actress, and she looks good. And she was also in the Superman movie that we did before. And I have a cool popcorn bucket for it. Okay, so here's the popcorn bucket. Sorry for that cut there, but she was in this movie with Superman, and I really liked this movie. I thought it was fun. There was one major, like for almost most of the movie, I had a great time overall, and for almost the entire movie, I really loved it. But there was a thing, they did some writing stuff that I did not appreciate, and I don't know what they're going to do moving forward. So this is the popcorn bucket from the movie, and it was really cool. But she was in this one, and she's really good. And so we'll see what happens. The real pull, the real draw for that movie is going to be Jason Momoa as Lobo. I love Lobo. He's awesome. He's a superhero that is on par with Kryptonians, but he also has a healing factor that is more interesting and basically better than Wolverine because he can regrow not only him, like he does not just regrow. If he bleeds, like he can grow clones of himself from his blood. He's a space bounty hunter with a space motorcycle, a chain, a like intergalactic weapon, like some kind of laser shotgun or something. I forget exactly how that works. And he has two space dolphins that fly around with him. He's just like a totally wacky character. He's kind of like one DC's Deadpool mixed with Superman and Wolverine. It's and the Punisher. It's like really goofy but very entertaining. So we'll see how that one goes. So that's releasing again June 26th, Supergirl. All right, moving on to July. So again, no games for July that I'm tracking or want to like I think that are going to be big enough people want me to track them or play. So again, if you have suggestions, let me know in the comments. But then we've got Moana, the live action Moana movie is releasing on July 10th. Coming at us from Walt Disney, July 10, 2026, obviously. And then coming at us from Walt Disney Pictures and being directed by Thomas Kail. This is a big personal project for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Can you smell what The Rock is cooking? For all those old people, for all the young people who don't know, Dwayne Johnson used to be a wrestler. I'm wondering if there are people who don't realize that. If you didn't know that Dwayne Johnson was a wrestler before watching this video, let me know in the comment section down below. So he is going to be Maui. He's reprising his role as Maui, and we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I liked the animated movie, so that's cool. I don't know. It's very early for it to be getting a live action remake, but that's fine. We'll see how it goes. It does not. If they do it right, good. I don't know if they are, though. That's the whole big thing. So then we've got Spider-Man, brand new, releasing on July 31st, 2026. And it is coming out from Sony Pictures and being directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, not sure. It's Cretton. I liked the first one. No, actually, I should say this. I liked all of them, but there were major problems with the first one. I don't like how they categorized Peter Parker as being they made him a little bit dumber than I would have liked. I think the second one was okay. I didn't like it as much as I liked the first one, even though I do understand that there were problems with the first one. And then I loved Far From Home, or excuse me, not Far From Home, No Way Home, excuse me. And now we're getting brand new. I'm not sure what they're going to do here, but I'm interested. I'm interested in seeing. I know nothing about the movie. Again, I've avoided everything. This is one that I've successfully avoided any information about. I don't know who the bad guy is or anything. When I go into the movie theater, my goal is to not know anything except that it's the next Spider-Man movie. Brand new seems to make sense, though, because everybody's forgotten Peter Parker, and now he's, got his own life, and he's completely separate. The only person... It does suck because he's missing out on having his friendship with his friend and then MJ. But, I mean, if you think about it, Aunt May died. And he hasn't been... The Avengers aren't around right now. And so, it's an interesting twist on it all. So, we'll see where they go with it. Okay, so then let's move on to August. So... we've got no games in August again. Please let me know about games that you want me to either track or play. And then we've got an interesting one as far as movies. So Super Troopers 3 releases on August 7th, 2026. It's coming at us from Searchlight Pictures. Okay, and it is being directed by J. Chandrasekhar. Chandrasekhar. That is almost... That is as weird. That's weirder than the way my name is spelled, and my name is always spelled really weird, and people never get it right. So the Super Troopers movies were highly acclaimed. I saw one of them. Did I see the second one? They were a little bit before my time. Like when they were coming out, I was still maybe considered too young to watch them. But great movies. and it's pretty cool to see them bringing some of these franchises back. I think that sequels to older franchises are better than doing remakes of older franchises. Not that doing a remake is necessarily a bad thing inherently, but it's always really cool to see the people that, the characters that you love, you revisit them. If their stories aren't complete and if it can be done well, seeing them come back, for one last run, or however you would describe that. So that's cool. Okay, so we'll see how that goes. And then Insidious, The Bleeding World. I'm not into the Insidious movies, by the way. Not that I hate them or anything. I've just never gotten into it. Releasing August 21st, 2026. Coming at us from Sony Pictures and being directed by Jacob Chase. If you're an Insidious fan, let me know in the comment section down below. Are you excited for Insidious, The Bleeding World? But for me, it's kind of not so much. Not a bad thing. I know nothing of the quality personally of these movies. Okay, but just not my cup of tea. So then we've got in September. Let's check out September. So we got Phantom Blade Zero coming at us to PlayStation 5 and PC. S-Game presents Phantom Blade Zero, a fusion of classic. Okay, so it's Wuxia, Wuxia, which I believe is like Wuxia. Wuxia. Let me know. I don't know how to pronounce it. Wuxia storytelling and exhilarating action powered by Unreal Engine 5. You play as Soul, a warrior with only 66 days left to live. Fend off assassins, unravel world-ending conspiracies, and defend your values with your life. It's releasing on September 9th, 2026. And it is being developed and published by S-Game. So, let me know if you're excited about that. Please correct me on the pronunciation of Wuxia. And yeah, cool. We can discuss it in the comments. So I don't have another game, and I don't have any movies coming out for September that I'm interested in, or think that other people want me to track or anything. So again, these are either going to be times when I'm either catching up on videos because I'm always behind playing older games or something, and or if you guys have suggestions, I can go see those movies and play those games at that time. So excellent. All right, so then getting into October again. As we get farther away, because we're so early in the year, we're gonna have fewer and fewer titles that have been given release dates. So we've got October, no games. But we do have Street Fighter, which is coming out, and it's being released on October 16th, and coming out from Paramount Pictures and being directed by Kitao Sakurai, which is Kitao, that's the first name, and the last name is Sakurai. So I believe that's Kitao Sakurai. But so this is another. I remember. So I saw Street Fighter. What was it like? Chun-Li's story Rise of Chun-Li or something like that. That was a good movie. I actually liked that one. I think it could have been better. Don't get me wrong. But now they've got another one, just Street Fighter, and my understanding is that this is about Ryu. I'm not sure, though. Let me know in the comment section down below if you know more about it. But it's a beloved franchise, so it'll be interesting to see if they can pull it off. The original with Jean-Claude Van Damme, was not great, but had an excellent performance from its protagonist who played M. Bison, and I can't remember that guy's name right now, but he was a great, great actor. I'm sorry, on the top of my head, I can't remember his name. But so we'll see how it goes. I liked the Chun-Li movie, and which was forever ago. That has to have been almost 20 years ago. My Lord, almost 20 years ago. No, not almost 20 years. Like almost 15 years ago that movie came out. Around that time. So let's see if they can take that and translate it into another movie and maybe make something good and something fans will like. So then, we moving in from action to horror here in October. Terrifier 4. Now, this is a movie series that I have not watched, but I hear that it's good and even a little funny, some horror and some comedy elements to it. But it's releasing on October 30th, 2026, so it's being produced by Dark Age Cinema and being directed by Damien Leone, or Leone, Leone. Very gory, a little bit funny because of the way that the main antagonist basically kills and mutilates people and acts when he's doing it. And I think it's not confirmed, but basically the Art the Clown is he's got to be some kind of supernatural thing, like Michael Myers from those movies. But anyway, so now we've got the big one. A game that people have been waiting for decades. It is. It's been decades, right? I'm not huge into this franchise, but here it is. We've got Grand Theft Auto 6 coming at us from the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S. Decades. Yeah, because Grand Theft Auto 5 came out forever ago. And one thing is that because of the way that they've been able to monetize Grand Theft Auto 5 and Grand Theft Auto Online, they haven't had to make Grand Theft Auto 6. But now the memes are over, and we're getting Grand Theft Auto 6. It is set in Vice City, USA. Jason and Lucia have always known the deck is stacked against them, but when an easy score goes wrong, they find themselves on the darkest side of the sunniest place in America. In the middle of a criminal conspiracy stretching across the state of Leonida, forced to rely on each other more than ever if they want to make it out alive. It's releasing on November 19th, 2026. It's being developed and published by Rockstar Games. So a lot of people are really excited about it. And hey, again, I'm not a big Grand Theft Auto person, so this isn't going to be one that I play. It isn't, it's open. Those are, the Grand Theft Auto games are open world games. They take a huge amount of time to play through because of all the open world game stuff. At least for properly reviewing them the way that I do. So I don't really have time for it, and it's not something that's super, super interesting to me. So this might be a month that I play something else entirely or catch up on videos. We'll see what happens. We do not have a second game, but then again, do we really need one when something that is so highly anticipated and hyped is coming out? Hopefully it lives up to the hype and it is as good as people, want it to be. So then we have, as far as movies, Ebenezer, A Christmas Carol. This is a Johnny Depp movie, so he's kind of making his comeback after it's been discovered that Amber Heard is a big fat liar, and that's great, because he basically was abused by his wife and then dragged into court talking about how he abused her, but it turned out that she had just crapped the bed. That was pun intended. Anyway, I loved watching that trial because it really was so funny. So anyway, it's releasing on November 13, 2026. I wrote this in my notes backwards. So it's coming at us from, I was like, as soon as I read that, I was like, what the heck? So coming at us from the production company Paramount Pictures and being directed by Ty West. Excuse me, guys. I told you, early onset dementia. Go support Johnny Depp. Yeah, it would be nice to see that movies... I don't care about politics, but this isn't politics. This is about fairness. This is a man whose life was destroyed because of a lie. And I absolutely hate that. A lot of people, I've talked about it before, I was abused, both physically, mentally, and sexually from the time I was 13 to the time I was 17. Those are basically all of the best years of my life. Before that, the sexual abuse wasn't going on, but a lot of the other types of abuse were happening from the time that I was born until I was 13, intermittently, depending on who I was living with at the time, because I come from kind of a broken home. I won't get into any more details than that, except to say that after that, I went into the military, and the military sucks too. I loved being in the military, but it sucks. And so, anyway, my point is, I know what abuse is. And for Johnny Depp to have gone through the abuse that he did, even as an adult, and then have his life ruined because of the abuse that he suffered, that is absolutely terrible. And so it's not a political thing, which I try to avoid so much. But it just would be great to see people go out and support Johnny Depp. Because when you've gone through something like that, you just need a break, man. You do. You just need a break. So, anyway, go support Johnny Depp. Hopefully it's good anyway. I mean, he's a good actor. So, Ebenezer, A Christmas Carol, coming out November 13th, just before the holidays. So, okay, then we've got one that I'm actually really interested in seeing. Madden, coming out November 26, 2026. It's about the life story of John Madden. And Nicolas Cage is playing John Madden, and that's freaking awesome. So it's coming at us from Amazon MGM Studios and being directed by David O. Russell, and Christian Bale and Nicolas Cage are in it. And I am so very happy about that, because Nicolas Cage is freaking awesome. There's some other stuff that's going on with him. Like, he's going to be in a series for Amazon where he plays Spider-Man. And he actually is, well, he's Spider Noir. And I love him. And no matter whether it's a good movie or a bad movie, he's usually the most interesting thing about whatever movie he's in. And it's totally awesome. And if you go and look anything up about him and kind of learn more about his story, you'll understand that his weirdness and goofiness and a lot of the ways that he acts and is just this larger than life kind of figure in movies is intentional. And he has a lot of range. Anyway, it would be good to go check out Nicolas Cage. He's got like an interesting story as far as his approach to acting. But I love the guy. He's totally great. Not very good with his money, so he takes a lot of... that's why he ends up in some really bad movies, but definitely some interesting roles. So anyway, and you can tell he's not an actor that will go into a bad movie and phone it in. At least not so far that I've seen. So that's cool. So that wraps up November. Let's move into December. Again, no game. Okay, so this is another month with no game releases. Let me know in the comment section down below if you've got any for me that you would like me to see. We've got Avengers Doomsday, though, coming out on December 18, 2026. It's coming to us from Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures and being directed by Joe and Anthony Russo. Now, Avengers movies, Marvel movies, they used to be something that everybody loved. This is the same old story. This has been a big thing for a long time now, ever since Endgame, which was what, like 10 years ago now? 15? I don't know. I'm getting old, guys. Am I excited about it? I don't know. We'll see. Kind of demoralized about the Marvel movies, although I did like the Thunderbolts. It wasn't everything that I wanted necessarily, but it really set up a cool, interesting base. I did not like the Fantastic Four movie. I did not like the Captain America, who is actually Falcon, series. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I didn't like the Falcon. I didn't like the Captain America movie where, Falcon plays Captain America. I didn't like any of that. And so moving forward, I have no idea what they're going to do. And now with Robert Downey Jr., I don't know if that's going to work or not. We'll see what happens. But it's coming out December 18th. If this movie doesn't make it, this is going to, I think, might just be the final blow to Marvel. So they better really knock it out of the park here. So anyway, though, next movie, Dune Part 3. It's releasing on December 17th, 2026, coming at us from Warner Bros. Pictures and being directed by Denis Villeneuve. And I loved Dune Part 1. It's a movie that I bought. I showed my wife. She got super excited to see Dune Part 2. We watched Dune Part 2. It really, really dragged. Parts of it, like Dune Part 1 was a lot of action-packed stuff, cinematography that was this just amazing, and a lot of really, really cool storytelling and the way that the characters are developed. It was really awesome. Then Dune Part 2 came out, and they really should have trimmed some of it, in my opinion, but it was still okay. I hope that Dune Part 3 kind of learns from that and is able to make something more like the first movie than the second, as far as the issues that I'm talking about. So, yeah. Okay, so this is the big one. This is the one that everybody always wants to hear about. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages of announced titles that have no release dates, and this is probably going to drop off as they're given release dates, or it's going to become that they're going to stay in the announced section but just move to another year. But as you know, as they're given release dates throughout the year, this portion will be smaller, and then every time that we do an action update, we'll have less titles to go through. So these videos are going to get shorter as the year goes on. Okay, but let's check it out. So we've got Wolf Among Us 2 coming to us from to PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. We had an interview with Ad Hoc Studios, which is what we're going to talk about today, but this is being developed and published by Telltale Games. So from comicbook.com on September 17th. By the way, highly anticipated game. Wolf Among Us 1 was awesome. If Telltale Games shut down and then it came back, and if they could just get this game out, they could make some real money and be able to better position themselves to have longevity rather than, people are worried about the studio closing again before this comes out. So here we go. From comicbook.com on September 17, 2025. If I had a chance to speak, I had a chance, to speak to the studio which was originally making the game for Telltale. Then a kind of publisher, but now making the game internally, it seems, to see if I could find out what was going on. The original developer was Ad Hoc Studio, a team formed by a former Telltale staff, many of whom worked on the original The Wolf Among Us game. Ad Hoc co-founder Nick Herman directed the first episode of Wolf Among Us, known as Faith. And he told me that, he told me Ad Hoc was working on the follow-up, The Wolf Among Us 2, for about 2 years. But as to why the studio stopped working on it, he said, "Look, the truth is, we wrote a season 2. We think it's better than season 1, and we were on season 1. And yeah, we're really proud of it. We were doing tests. We were in cinematics and animation and stuff. And then basically they needed more time. We weren't running the project. It was Telltale we were doing it in partnership with, and we couldn't wait around to do nothing, so we had to move on to Dispatch, which is a game I reviewed. Go check it out. Really great game. So we had to move on to Dispatch to keep the studio moving, and they needed to go on their own way. Now, as far as how much, my understanding is that they do not know how much of what Ad Hoc worked on is what they're going to use in season 2 that is going to be coming out. But that's what we know. No release date. It's just kind of news about how it's being made and how it was worked on so far. That's what I've got for you. Please, guys, Telltale Games, if you're watching this, I'm a small YouTuber that basically nobody watches these action updates, and I know that, but the clips, people really like the clips, so, like the shorts I make from these. So, you're probably never going to hear this, never going to watch this video, but if you do, Telltale Games, please just get this game out, because it really was good. And make it exactly like they said. Ad Hoc Studios said that they think that their story was better than season 1. And if it is, you've got yourself a gold mine. It literally is a money printing machine. So let's get this thing done, right? Okay, so then moving on from that, we've got Unrecord. We've been tracking this one for a long time, ever since 2024. But basically, we have nothing new. The release date and time are yet to be announced, and that's what we've got. The game is being developed by one guy, so he's like, "Look, I'm not teasing anything. I'm not doing anything until I actually have something solid for you." So, okay, and now we're switching from kind of a lighter tone with 2 games that we're hoping will actually still come out and actually be good, to something a little sad. So Prince of Persia, the Sands of Time remake, coming to the PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox, has been canceled. So it was being developed and it was going to be published by Ubisoft, but from videogameschronicle.com on January 27th, 2026, last week Ubisoft announced that its troubled Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake has been canceled. In a statement posted on the official Prince of Persia account on X, the game's development team explained the decision to cancel it. To the Prince of Persia community, we want to share this with you directly. The message reads, we've made the difficult decision to stop development on the Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time. On Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time remake. We know this is deeply disappointing. The game carries enormous meaning for fans and for the teams who worked on it. While the project had real potential, we weren't able to reach the level of quality you deserve. And continuing would require more time and investment than we could responsibly commit. And we didn't want to release something that fell short of what The Sands of Time represents. Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time remake was one of 6 games canceled by Ubisoft last week. Ubisoft released games that suck. And because they released games that suck, they are in deep crap. And they had a game that if they would have released it, again, this is another thing that a lot of people have really been wanting for a long time. This thing was announced, and we've been waiting for it. Here's the deal. I don't understand how updating the graphics of these games... Well, so it's not just a remaster, it's a remake. So that would mean an overhaul of the cinematics, more than just the graphics being updated, even though that would happen. No new mechanics or anything. The story is the same. So like huge portions of what the development of a game are cut out of remaking that game. But that doesn't mean that it's going to necessarily be easier. It's just going to be easier. So I think this is basically a dog whistle for Ubisoft just making some of the stupidest business decisions ever. Assassin's Creed came out, the latest one with the black samurai who wasn't really a samurai and is mentioned in like less than one standard sheet of papers, amounts of writing in history. And they made just the pirate game that I played. It was okay, but a lot of people didn't like it. It wasn't like Assassin's Creed Black Flag because they have this stupid thing where it has to be like at least 50% different or something. That's like an in-house developer rule and all this stupid crap that is ruining their business that they need to rethink. And now that they've run out of money and need to tighten their belts because they keep making bad decisions, they cancel something that a lot of people have actually been waiting for and would have probably made them some money. So I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know if they want to make... Like, you have stuff like this that'll be less expensive and actually make you money versus committing more resources to do the same thing that you've already been doing that has been losing you money, but maybe it'll work this time. I don't understand. I just don't. Yeah, sad day. I loved Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. Sucks that we're not going to get it remade. Okay, so then moving on from that, we've got Fable coming to us. I keep saying coming at us, but it's, I guess, coming at us too. That works. The PC, Xbox Series X and S. And it's got a new release date window. So it's being developed by Playground Games and Third Kind Games, and it's going to be published by Xbox Game Studios. This is from IGN.com on January 22nd, 2026. As announced at the end of the Fable segment of today's Xbox Developer Direct, Playground Games' reboot of Fable will be released in fall 2026 for PC, including Steam, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox Cloud Gaming, and PlayStation 5. Okay, so I didn't have it listed as the PlayStation 5, but it is coming to PlayStation 5. So as a first-party Microsoft game, Fable also launches day one in subscription service Game Pass. Though a specific release date has not yet been confirmed, it's probably reasonable to presume that Fable will be released prior to November, so as to avoid being swallowed up by the impending release of Grand Theft Auto 6 on November 19th. But the day one release on PS5 is interesting, if only because Playground's own other 2026 release, Forza Horizon 6, will debut on Xbox before making its way to PS5 later. So those are two different games. So I don't think that Forza Horizon 6 is going to swallow up any of the gamers who want to play an RPG, because it's a racing game. But I will say this. I played Fable 1, loved it, started playing Fable 2, didn't love it as much as I did Fable 1, and I would have rather just gone back and played Fable 1, so guess what I did? I went back and played Fable 1. After that, I didn't really move forward with playing the Fable games anymore, and now we're getting kind of this reboot of the franchise. What is going to suck is I think that the first wave of promotional material where they told you that you have to play as an ugly lady was a mistake, and now people have that in their mind, so people probably don't even know that they've changed that now, so you're not going to have to play as that. There is a character creator now. So they've probably shot themselves in the foot, which might be why they're also going to release it on Xbox, the subscription service Game Pass, because it seems like they don't have confidence in it, at least not as much as they could have. What they should have done is come out. I don't know, because they wouldn't have been able to change it. They should have seen something like that coming, that they wouldn't make as much money and people would be upset because of the ugly girl thing, especially because people are just so repelled by anything about like fat acceptance, ugly women are beautiful, all this weird cultural stuff that certain people have been pushing. People are so repelled by that and annoyed by it now, just avoid it. I'm not even saying whether it's good or whether it's bad. I'm just saying just avoid it, because it causes so many problems, and you just don't want to deal with it. So I've always said, though, that if it was that you were actually kind of rebooting the Fable series with certain elements from actual Fable myths, okay, you could have had the Fable character that you're playing as be something like the ugly stepsister, so you had an in-story reason for her not being beautiful, or at least not ugly. And then, like the giant, I always said, I'm not sure how they're doing this, but maybe it was like the giant from Jack and the Beanstalk. You crawl up the beanstalk, there's a giant up there with the golden goose and all that. But that's not what they did, and so it was just a stupid decision to make it so that way you had to play as an ugly female character. And I don't know why they did that. That was stupid. Okay, so we'll see how that one performs. That's probably going to be the one that I'm going to play rather than Grand Theft Auto if it comes out in the release window that they're talking about. So sometime before November, that's what is suspected, but we don't have any confirmation of that. But we'll continue to follow that as we move along. Then we've got Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra, being developed by Skydance New Media and also published by Skydance New Media. This is one where you're going to play as Captain America and Black Panther during World War II, because both, like, Captain America existed during World War II and the Black Panthers have always existed as the line of kings going down from the beginning of Wakanda. And so that sounds great, right? But here's the deal. It was delayed. So Skydance Games, this is coming at us from thedirect.com on November 6, 2025. Skydance Games announced Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra was delayed beyond early 2026. In a statement, Skydance Games said the delay was necessary to fully realize our vision. Tellingly, no new release window was offered. This is yet another delay to Rise of Hydra, which in May was pushed out of 2025 to early 2026. Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra is a narrative-driven adventure featuring Captain America, Azuri, the Black Panther of the 1940s, Gabriel Jones of the Howling Commandos, and Nanali, a Wakandan spy embedded in occupied Paris. Let me tell you something. I think that these delays, and this is something I'm going to talk about, I think, in the MAARS Summit, I think a lot of these delays are kind of like what happened with, wasn't it Ubisoft, though, that had canceled a bunch? I'd have to do the research, but basically a bunch of developers canceled a bunch of games, delayed a bunch of games, and said, look, we've been releasing crap, and now we're going to not release crap anymore. We're going to polish these games before they're released. We're going to only make games that gamers want, because we're losing all kinds of money. Basically, gamers are winning. Okay, the movie industry, modern culture, woke isn't really dead, but a lot of its influence has been extremely diminished. But in the gaming industry, it's all about the money. So we are winning there. So all of these video games, I believe they're being delayed. For instance, this has probably been being worked on for a long time, and it probably had a bunch of issues that they just accepted. Like, oh, we'll fix it in post, you know, we'll do patches for it. So leave that, that's fine. And now they're basically being required to go back and fix a lot of the issues, maybe change some of the writing to avoid modern cultural issues or politics and those types of controversial things. And I will tell you that creating something and then going back and fixing it takes more time, in my opinion, than it does just to take the time to build it and create it right or the first time around. So that's probably why a lot of these games are getting delayed, possibly, in my opinion. Then we've got, okay, so we'll see how that goes. I'm excited to be able to play as Captain America in a new game. That's cool. I never played the original, like, Captain America, the game that came out for the movie, you know, alongside the movie. But I heard that was okay, you know, pretty good. Like, that's fine. But I never played that one, so I want to play Captain America in a new game other than just that Marvel game, a Marvel Avengers game that was all right, but too short, and then the multiplayer stuff sucked and all of that, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, Subnautica 2, though, is coming out to the PC, PS5, Xbox Series X and S. We've got nothing new. The last thing we heard was on July 10th, 2025, and basically early access release of Subnautica 2 has been delayed to 2026. And that's what we know. So early access has been a big part of the Subnautica games. I love Subnautica. I'm actually replaying through Subnautica 1 because I love this. I really do love this game so much. So that's going to be cool to get something new. And yeah, there you go. Then we've got Blood of Dawn. Oh, by the way, Subnautica 2 is coming to us from Unknown World Entertainment and being published by Krafton. Then we've got Blood of Dawnwalker. By the way, I know there's a controversy about Subnautica 2. Let's put it in the comments. We can discuss it. But then we've got Blood of Dawnwalker. We don't have anything new. So this game is being developed by Rebel Wolves, which is made up of CD Projekt Red, like ex-CD Projekt Red people. And it's being published by Bandai Namco Entertainment. And basically the last thing that we heard was on July 24th, 2025. And it's basically that trailer showcase during the Xbox Game Showcase 25. And it confirmed the 2026 year window. So we know it's supposed to be coming out this year. We don't know when. We'll see what happens. I'm excited when that one comes out. Even my dad, Lore Master Brian, has said that he might actually play this game, possibly stream it, but for sure would be down to possibly do a review. For sure be down. He's not very committal. He's got a lot of things going on and he doesn't like to be on camera. So we'll see what happens. That's my dad, by the way. And by the way, I know that I was mentioned all this kind of abuse. It was not from my father. Just so you understand. He was in the military. I lived with my mother and other people. So just anyway. So yeah, but he's non-committal. He doesn't like to do a bunch of stuff. So if you guys started subscribing, becoming members, and making me a bunch of money, he would do it because then I could pay him. So you get what you pay for, guys. But anyway, I'm excited for that one. Let's check out the next thing, though. So we got The Witcher 4. We've got nothing new for this one. It's being developed and published by CD Projekt Red. Well, okay, so it's being developed by CD Projekt Red and going to be developed by CD Projekt, which are two separate entities, although CD Projekt Red is a subsidiary of CD Projekt, okay? But the last thing we got for it was September 4th, 2025, and it just said that the game will not be launched within the time frame for the first target for the incentive program, which ends the 31st December 2026. So they had an incentive where they were going to get paid a bonus of more money if they completed the game and got it released before the 31st of December 2026. They're not going to do that. They're not going to make that. Hopefully we get, hopefully the game comes out and is great, meets everybody's expectations, and the delays will have been worth it. Again, some of these games, game studios have been releasing crap. For Cyberpunk 2077, if you played it on the PS5, you probably didn't have any issues with it. If you played it on the PS4, it wasn't very good, I would say. There were some issues, to my understanding, because I didn't play it on the PS4. And that probably had to do with the way that they created the game to be for PS5. But anyway, whatever. There was a bunch of problems with PS5s being released because of a shortage of these chips or just all kinds of stuff. Go check it out if you want to know more into that. So they're probably looking back at that, though, with the problems that most people had who played it on the PS4 and going, we cannot have another game like that. So they're probably going back through and making sure that there will be no technical issues with The Witcher 4. There will just be no technical issues. There's probably going to be, as always, whenever you find things, minor changes to the actual gameplay, maybe a little bit to the story if they really, really need to, or finishing up other things. But like the big thing probably is, in my opinion, it's probably is fixing bugs, making sure everything works. So, okay, now we've got another one that I'm really looking forward to. So The Resonance, A Plague Tale Legacy, coming to us from on the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. This is a new game. It is being developed by Asobo Studio and published by Focus Entertainment. And when I say it's a new game, I mean like we are now tracking it new. And we're almost done, guys, so here we go. But from Steam, embark on an original story, prequel to the award-winning games A Plague Tale. As Sophia journey to the Minotaur's Island, outsmart deadly foes, unravel ancient secrets, and confront a mythical creature at the heart of a devastating curse. This looks like it's going to give us some more answers to the mystery kind of that went around, like the mystery that existed within A Plague Tale. We're going to get some more backstory about everything that happened. I loved the Plague Tale games. It was kind of a sleeper for me, and then I went back and played it, and I did a review of it, and it was really good. Go check out my A Plague Tale game reviews. I loved the games. If this is as good as those are, and allows us to get a little bit more backstory around the world and fill out the lore and what's going on with the curse that Hugo had to deal with, that's going to be cool. And then also from Focus, it's Focus Entertainment, but it's focus-entmt.com, okay, on June 8th, 2025. Planned for release in 2026, Resonance: A Plague Tale Legacy is a prequel set 15 years before the events occurring in A Plague Tale series. Dive into an original story blending combat, myth, and faith with a brand new take on the universe created by Asobo Studio. Asobo Studio is a great studio. I think that they're going to do great here. It would be really cool to, like I said, to find out more about the world and maybe find out why Hugo is cursed in the way he is. Where did the curse come from? And all of that interesting stuff. So check that one out when it eventually comes out, and I'll be keeping track of it to see if it gets a new release date. Then we've got one that I'm actually really, really excited about. I love the XCOM games, and we're going to see, because I don't know, but we'll see. So we've got Star Wars Zero Company coming to the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. This is another new game that we are now newly tracking. It's being developed by BitReactor and Respawn Entertainment. I love Respawn. They're a good developer. Don't know so much about BitReactor. Let me know in the comment section down below. It's being published by Electronic Arts and Lucasfilm Games. I don't like Electronic Arts, although they do. Sometimes they most of their stuff has a lot of problems, especially the monetization things, but sometimes some pretty good stuff going on. So we've got Lucasfilm Games, and that is a Marvel thing. Sorry, not a Marvel, a Disney thing. And they're like, look, we are not in the business of losing money. So hopefully they can make this game good. And so here's what it is. So from Steam, command an elite squad through a gritty and authentic story in Star Wars Zero Company, a single-player turn-based tactics game set in the twilight of the Clone Wars. And then this is from IGN.com on April 19th, 2025. Star Wars Zero Company, BitReactor's upcoming new Star Wars tactics game, has been officially revealed at Star Wars Celebration today for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S with a release window of 2026. I'm loving this. I loved the XCOM games. I'm excited to see what they do, because you have the different classes of characters different classes of characters within the Star Wars universe. And I love that because there is a good variety. Maybe there's like Mandalorians, shock troopers, jetpack troopers. Then we've got kind of the Empire rising up. What I'm really excited about, though, is that in the promotional material and on the art for the game, there is a Jedi, and it would be really cool to be able to play with a Jedi in a tactics game that is like XCOM. Yeah. So, yes. Then we've got another big one that I'm really excited for. Warhammer 40,000, Dawn of War 4. Again, a new game that we're tracking. It's being developed by King Art Games and published by Deep Silver from Steam. Experience the brutal fusion of galactic strategy and grimdark warfare in Total War Warhammer 40,000. Take command of iconic factions, customize your war machine, and engage in devastating battles as you carve a bloody warpath across the stars. From GamesRadar.com on January 30th, 2026. Currently, there's no Warhammer 40,000 Dawn of War release date. However, we do know it's heading our way sometime in 2026. This 2026 release date window was confirmed during the game's announcement at Opening Night Live as part of the Gamescom 2025 schedule. I loved Dawn of War. I was actually introduced to Dawn of War very early on. When was that? It was like when I was 11 or 12 years old. It really was early on in my life. And it was so good. And I really love how the individual characters attack each other. So in games like real-time strategy games like Warcraft 3, StarCraft and stuff, you see these characters and they have an animation that like is an attack animation. You know, swing your StarCraft, you have the zealots swinging their blades, you have machine gun, okay, and then when they die, it's like, okay, not in Dawn of War. In Dawn of War, you have these people that come up and you'll see them, like the Eldar will actually do like flips and stuff, so they'll, do it, and they'll spin around and do a flip and land and then keep attacking, and the orcs will be okay. But what's cool is the death animations. When they die, they all, like when a member of the squad dies, let's say an Eldar kills an orc, the Eldar will like stab into the orc and actually do like a little death animation, and the orc will fall down. I always thought that was pretty cool. The dreadnoughts are able to pick up enemies. Gorgux with his big mechanical hand, they'll pick up enemies and they'll crush them and throw them, and you'll see the enemy fly away. It's just a really cool combat system. I loved Dawn of War 1. I liked Dawn of War 2, but it wasn't really a real-time strategy game, but it was a good game. And then Dawn of War 3, though, sucked. I heard it sucked, so I didn't even play it. And hopefully we can return back to a gameplay like Dawn of War 1, which is what they're doing. Hopefully it's really great. Okay, so that's all good and fine. I do want to do one last thing as we are going here. And I'm going to be putting up some pictures so you guys can see it. But before we move on with 2026, I just want to say I really love my lovely wife, Ellie. She's really great. She got me a really cool Lord of the Rings chess set. And I love Lord of the Rings. It's one of my favorite things ever. I love the games for Lord of the Rings. I love the movies for Lord of the Rings. I love the Lord of the Rings music. I love the Lord of the Rings books. I'll be honest with you, they're so hard to read. I haven't finished them. But I love the lore. That's what I should say. Audiobooks, that's the way to go. And it's just really cool. So these are hand carved. And I'll take pictures to put up with the video, but not hand carved, excuse me. These are very detailed. Why did I say hand carved? They're plastic, but they're extremely detailed, and they're very cool and highly detailed. And it's pretty cool. And I like chess too. So we've got Gandalf as the queen and Galadriel is the king. Wait. Is Gandalf the king? I'll have to look it over again. Wait, let me see. This is... Yeah, I said that wrong. Gandalf is the king. Galadriel is the queen. We've got Sauron as the king, and Sauron as the queen, and Gollum, the ring wraiths, those statues outside of Minas Morgul, the one I adore, the Hobbit adore. We've got the two kings. We've got Aragorn, and Aragorn, what I think is cool is that you've got ring wraiths for the black pieces, and then for the white pieces you've got Eowyn, okay, and Aragorn. So that's awesome. And then we've got hobbits for, you know, mirroring Gollum here for the bishops. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I really love it. Thank you very much, sweetheart. I know that I have Lego sets that I have to build. I'm going to get a camera that I can set right here so you guys can watch me from both here and here and watch me build the Lego sets. That's the reason I haven't done that yet. And that's another thing that I should have said when I'm moving, as far as moving forward. So and we'll do that live because I love Lego sets. I used to have a Lego Star Wars stuff that I put up on my desk, and maybe after I'm done building those Lego sets for my wife from forever ago, I'll put them up here. So, but all right, guys. So that was kind of the end. That was the end of 2025, the last quarter, but mostly about what we're going to be doing moving forward into 2026. My daughter has been home with me. So that has really affected my ability to put out videos in the way that I'd like to. So we bought a house. The difference between our rent and our mortgage payment was actually the same as the cost of daycare. So we pulled my daughter out of daycare, had her stay home with me, and so now I cannot afford. So now with the mortgage, I cannot afford daycare. So she's home with me, and I'm not able to do everything I want to do all the time. But with the next school year starting in a few months, we will have, a few months. With the next school year starting this year, we're going to have kind of a ramp up of what I'm able to do. And I'm still figuring out different strategies to get things done the way I want. So this year is going to be an important year. And we're already monetized, so watch for cash giveaways. Let's get this thing done. If you watch this far, I really do appreciate it, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Please support. I love getting views, and knowing that people love the work that I do is a big part of being able to continue on. I've been getting a lot of views on the shorts, but I really like these videos to do better. I know that the action updates are long, but it's a lot of news about the industry, so I hope that you guys can appreciate that. And that's all I've got, though, guys. I want to thank you all for watching one last time and say God bless you all, and have a good night. Don't forget to check me out on Twitch and join the Discord, where you can voice chat with me while I live stream, and you won't be recorded or anything on YouTube and Twitch, so that's pretty cool. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram. If you like to read, you can see my after-action reports on my blog. And if you are interested, you can get some merch from my spring store. The links for everything are in the description below.